Hey PROVKids volunteers, I wanted to share something with you. This is a very impromptu clip. I didn't really put much thought into this. I just know this one thing that God wants to just wants me to encourage you. So I might stumble over my words. I might not, say the right things, or I might even, just I don't know, whatever. I just want to be raw with you guys. You know what? This is a crazy season that's ahead. It's Christmas, it's busyness, it's been a long year, and I know how it feels. We all know how it feels. There's a lot going on. And we sometimes just feel overwhelmed, and we like start asking questions like, Lord, should we be doing this? And usually the first things that we kind of want to take off our list is volunteering and serving. And you maybe already have these thoughts running through your mind, and it's natural. Um, I don't want to shame you in any way. I want to encourage you. Um, you know, on my way to work this week, I drove and then I saw the strangest thing in a field next to the road. There, two bald eagles were sitting in the field. It's insane. I mean, that caught my attention, and God told me, Marcel, I want you just to remember, take note of this. Strange thing is, 2 days later, I drive to work again, and I see this car parked next to the road in this random little spot. And God tells me, stop, go speak to that person. And I had enough time to stop and be obedient. I just drove past, and then God was like, Marcel, are you really going to do this? I turn around, I drive to this vehicle. Um, and I'm thinking, whoa, God wants me to speak to this person. Maybe he's suicidal. I don't know, because he's like parked in this weird little spot. I park next to him. I get out of the car. As I walk to him, I see he's got this huge camera with those big lenses, and he's busy taking pictures. And guess what he's taking pictures of? One of these bald eagles is sitting in a tree. And all of a sudden it made sense why God drew my attention to that 2 days ago, because in that moment, here's a man busy taking pictures of the very same eagles. And as I step to the car, I say, older gentleman, I say hi to him, and I say, you know what? I just want you to know today that the same way you have that eagle in your frame and in your lens, God has got his eye on you, and he's fully aware of you. He loves you, and he wants you to know that you are seen. That word that day, it was in this past week, wasn't just for that man in that car. I want to say that to you, that you are in God's frame, you are seen, and you are appreciated. And I want to encourage you that I know it's common terminology in Providence that we encourage people to serve from a full tank. And it's so true, we should do that. But the reality is, if you speak to the leaders, if I can just be honest and raw with you, so many Sundays I step you know, into church. I get ready to head back to the kids ministry, and my tank is pretty drained. And I'm like, Lord, I don't even know if I have everything in me that is needed to make this morning work and for it to be impactful. And then, we have group huddles. I stand before you, and I encourage you, and I share things with you, but sometimes my own tank isn't really full. The honest reality is, yes, God does want us to serve from a place of rest. When we get the opportunity or have the opportunity to serve from a full tank, counted as an extreme blessing, because the reality is that the other 95% of the times, our vessel is probably cracking and leaking, and we don't have a full tank. So does that mean you must step back from volunteering? Does that mean you must step back from serving? No, definitely not. It's a great opportunity. If I followed that way of thinking, then I would have stepped back a long time ago, because there's been more than enough occasions that I just felt like my tank isn't full enough to do this. I want to share some perspective with you. Sometimes in our act of serving, it's the very place where God wants to fill our tank. And I know you walk into those corridors, it's crazy. Your kids woke up late, they didn't eat breakfast, things aren't on schedule. You drove into the parking lot at church, and you just feel like, I can pull the hair out of my head. But a lot of times our act of serving is the very place where God wants to come and fill us up. So it's a season ahead where there's a lot of things going on, and probably one of the things that's on your mind is to say, hey, I'm going to scrap this thing of serving in PROVKids. I want to encourage you, and I want to say, hey, God wants to use that to really fill you up in ways that you maybe are not expecting. Guys, I'm at the church property at the moment. The earth is being moved at this very moment. They're busy moving ground because we're busy with the building project. I know you're tired. I know setting up and tearing down is getting to you. Let's just go strong. Let's take that seatbelt, that spiritual seatbelt, let's plug it in. And let's just say, God, you know what? This isn't the funnest season for me. I am tired, but you know what? Despite all of this, I am not going to focus on the flesh man. I'm going to focus on my spirit man. And just like David had to quiet the natural and say to his spirit man, rise up. Rise up above what is going on around me. Let us take that spiritual seatbelt. Let's, buckle up and say, God, spirit man inside of me, rise up, because you've been called for such an occasion as this. And even though the realities around me are telling me, quit, stop, don't go on with this, I'm speaking to your spirit man, and I'm saying this is the perfect time for you to rise up and to step into a new season, into a fresh season, into breakthrough. You know what? You might be saying, if you compare yourselves to other people's, maybe you compare yourself to me, I don't know. And you may tell yourself, you know what, Marcel? What I have to offer compared to what Nathan does on a Sunday morning, or what Philip does, or whoever you compare yourself to, you might feel like you only have crumbs. You're like, God, what I have to bring to the table is in any way crumbs. It's meaningless. There's nothing to it. I want to remind you of this thing that I've been sharing in our group huddles the last few weeks. Your crumbs that you bring to the table may be a meal for the person at the table. Could you remember Matthew 15 when Jesus is busy talking? The Canaanite woman comes to her, and Jesus says, you know what, I am here to serve a certain group of people, and I'm not going to take from the table and give it to the dogs. And then the lady said, but even the dogs get to eat the crumbs from the master's table. What you think is merely crumbs could be a nourishing meal for a person that God wants to bring across your path. And what if that person is a little child, a little 2-year-old, a little 6-month-old baby? This is about not what we see in the natural, it's about what we're doing in the spiritual. You are sowing seeds, you are planting, you are investing. And the truth is, maybe these seeds are only going to come to fruition by the time these kids are youth, or when they're done with school and we don't even see them. But there's eternal reward, there's eternal blessing. God is fully aware of the seeds that you are planting that is contributing to overall transformation in the lives of kids and their future. So I want to encourage you right now. And I want to say, you are seen, you are in God's frame, and you are not overlooked. I appreciate the way you strengthen the ranks so much, and please continue to do it. If you're about to scratch your volunteering in PROVKids off, your list and saying, well, I'm stopping with this, I'm not doing this any longer, I want to say, hey, you are seen and appreciated and valued, and we really do need you. And I just want to encourage you. I want to speak to your spirit, man, and just say, rise up, rise up. Hey guys, we're nearly there. And it's not just about a building, but I know that once we're in the building, things are definitely going to be a way easier for all of us. So I love you, I appreciate you, and just tune into what God wants to say in this season for your life. PROVKids volunteers, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It's an honor to serve with you.